we get captured by insurgents, am I gonna cry, or am I gonna, like, just let them kill me, or am I gonna have the mindset to try and fight back?
If you find that either you or a loved one is struggling with trauma, then please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
We're all familiar with the movie format where friends meet each other for the first time, their lives makes them lose contact, come back, lose contact, come back. Normally, it's a format used in romantic comedies that normally works. That format best describes my relationship with my next guest. We have always met each other at different parts of our lives, and I'm so happy to have him today on my show. Hi, Shadley. How are you doing?
Good morning, Siraj. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, it's true what you say. I mean, from school days till both of us working in the media, our paths have crossed and probably will continue to cross for the rest of our lives.
You're currently talking to me from Italy, you're living now in Italy, although we met in 1996 in Athlone in Cape Town. So what are you doing currently?
No, we met before 96, bro. We met in 1986 at Alexander Sinton High
Oh,
School.
sorry, I got my dates wrong. Crack out, my bro. So what are you doing
I'm
in?
now in Sicily at the moment with my family. I'm living here at the moment, kind of in between countries, but this is where I am at the moment.
Our journey started when we met at high school, Alexander Sinton,
Right.
and we were obviously very involved in the SRC, especially with your brother being the Siobhan, being SRC chairman at one stage, and then
Correct.
and me and you were part of the action committee,
Correct.
preparing the school for police
Correct.
and stuff like that.
Correct. Correct.
I remember the one memory that really stands out is us preparing like a triage area, emptying dirt bins for tear gas canisters, help sitting up in the home economics room, the tables and the buckets with Vaseline and
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
and then
Exactly.
also preparing the bricks for the aftermath of
Bricks, bricks, tires,
petrol.
petrol. Yeah, no, that's those are good memories. It's true what you say. I mean, although we were part of that SRC and we had lots and lots of meetings there as well, but the meetings used to go on too long, and I think both of us were more towards the action committee side of things.
Yeah, we left
You
the
know,
meeting for Siobhan to go and do the all the political speak there while we
exactly,
got things
exactly,
going.
exactly. All the talking, and we just wanted to confront the police, which we obviously did on a few times. I'm very proud of that history of ours at Sinton. I think it's one of the unique stories of the struggle from the Cape colored school perspective, if I can say that, just going back. I think we were very unique in that way. I mean, so yeah, that's those are good memories.
But within
Uh,
that, I mean, your family, your father is a well-known photographer. So I'm assuming that that is also during that period, your interest in media and camera obviously started during that period. So how did it start for you?
well, for me, it started. My father, yes, was a news photographer, along with Jimi Matthews, Alvin Andrews. Anton Swart, Aziz Tassim, John Ruberton, all Cape Town kind of press center based. And as you remember, I mean, you can't burn tires at the school without inviting the police. So I think you remember there were times that we used to use the call box and set up a barricade and then get the girls to call the police so that they could come and we could confront them. And that's the time also that we used to call the media or send out press alerts that there was action happening at our school, because I mean the struggle was won basically on media coverage. Otherwise nobody would have knew we were confronting the police. So a lot of it started with that, just calling the police, calling the press, being in touch with them, so that our confrontation or our little thing at school that we were having was covered. So that's basically how it started for me. But I didn't take it seriously until a friend of mine who was working with Jimi, Aziz Tassiem, his brother Shafiek Tassiem is a world-renowned cameraman now. So when he passed away in a car accident covering the Oceanos tragedy, and after that I really took media and photography seriously. So Aziz Tassiem really inspired me, including the late John Rubenthal, who was running the Cape Town Press Center. So I would say I've seen things from my father, but it was other people that inspired me probably most, and
Okay.
that changed my direction.
And your focus has always been news coverage, news camera covering news, big news events. Obviously, in that time there was a lot of conflict. Actually, I can't remember our history not having some form of conflict in South Africa.
Mm.
Um, but then, what was your first big break in a sense of a professional camera operator career? Like, where was who gave you and what company?
Okay. I started basically as a runner at the Cape Town Press Center. So I used to run tapes, to go charge batteries, go to the shop, blah, 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 while I was still at school. And then when I finished school, I was helped a lot by Jimi Matthews, who was the time Reuters and Viz News Reuters. So he gave me a big break as well towards the elections in 94. And then Alvin Andrews and Sam Fenter, when APTV started, which is APTN now, started, they gave me a job, full-time job as a sound man. Okay, it was 94. So that's really where it started. And Alvin Andrews, after 1 year, he trained me. And from 95, I was a cameraman. From 96, I was moved to the Durban office. I think I was about, I don't know, 20, in early 20s. So there was a lot of those people I mentioned are the people that really gave me my breaks.
But I also remember seeing you a lot at the Claremont Gardens, filming weddings. And
Yeah, yeah.
the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I do a lot of training in South Africa, Zambia, everywhere, and I never like when people talk to me and they say, "Oh, but I only do wedding videos," and I go, "Oh, do not slate that experience." I know people like you and your brother that have built from that and built amazing careers.
Yeah, yeah. No, listen, this I did the wedding thing with Shafiek Tassiem. That was his gig. He was running a thing called Video T. So I was basically his assistant. But you know, with weddings, it's important days. Your gear's got to be together. You got to be on time. So that was kind of like the stepping stone for news, because news is all about your gear working properly, being on time, not missing a moment, and that was a good start for us basically. But yeah, Shafiq was the one. We used to do lots of weddings. Very, yeah, it's funny when I think about it now, but definitely a stepping stone, because it definitely something serious, and you take it serious, and then and when I moved to news, I kind of already understood what deadlines was about, what how important equipment was, how important communication was. So yeah, from a young age, I kind of understood that was the fundamentals of media, basically through the weddings.
Like you said, when you were got your permanent position with AP, you already started and then they moved you to Durban already.
Yeah.
That was probably the start of your journey of traveling to stories as such, or being based
Correct.
in different locations,
Correct.
countries. Um, so,
Correct.
so from Durban, where did you go next from a location
Fro-
point of view to cover events or stories?
Okay. In Durban, I was there. I covered a lot of the ANC IFP violence. So I did a lot of that kind of thing in 96, working with Rajesh Jantilal, photographer based out in Durban. Joa Silva, Greg Marinovich, they used to come around most weekends to cover the violence. So I started there. From there, I moved to Johannesburg, spent some time there, uh, worked there, was very cozy. And when you get too cozy, then you're just going to settle down basically. So I resigned from AP. I moved to London, as a freelancer. Did some work for them in London on my 2-year work visa. And then I came back to South Africa in 2000. Was back in Cape Town. Then I did some reality TV shows. I did a Survivor. I did Amazing Race. I did
I want to get
South African Apprentice.
No, wait. You must tell them. You must tell the people a story of Amazing Race when they did that Jan van Riebeeck thingy, and then you told them it's a name. Just tell the people that story. It's a mal story.
Okay, yeah. At the end of the race in Cape Town, they had like a Dutch type Jan van Riebeeck type guy there, right? So he was like, "Well, welcome in Kaapstad," something like that. So I was like, "No, man, this guy should be saying, welcome to Cape Town. How's the tour?" And you know what I mean?
But
yeah.
So the fact that you just mentioned now that you've done the reality TV camera work, and I know that you were working with part of the team with Mike Yelseth, which is
correct.
Is South Africa's most renowned
world renowned multi-Emmy award winning cameraman.
DOP, yeah, and I think it was the first 4 seasons of Amazing Race. He was the DOP that built the look and the style. So the question I have with regards to that is because you coming from your TV background and because what I always, again, when my training and when I talk to people about the way you cover reality is that and news, you never have a journalist or a director telling you catch that all the time.
Yeah.
So when you're filming, you have to film. You're covering the story. You're watching what's unfolding. You know what the story is, and therefore you would then maneuver yourself to make sure you cover everything. Do you find that your news covering had a big impact on how you covered reality TV?
I would say yes, and yes, it did actually. You know, the thing about news and reality is you have to be switched on. You know, when you're looking through your viewfinder, besides checking your audio level and your record button that it's on, that you're actually recording and your picture's sharp, you also got to be watching what they're saying. You know, when to cut, when not to cut. Listen, see for the emotions. So it was good. I did it. It was an experience, but I left it because basically with reality TV, you're always working with a big production crew, right? And for me, that just became a little bit too much coming from like maybe working with a producer or, you know. So that kind of what put me off it was I think that was basically it, what put me off it. And then I left that and went back to news. As one as one does, I think.
As a news camera operator, you've been placed into hectic scenarios, covering hectic scenarios, and we're going to show the people watching 2 such examples. But like, what was the attraction? You know, like within camera, you can go and become a film camera, work mainly on shooting for movies. You know, go up the ladder there. You can even today be studio cameras and just focus on that type of environment, sports and stuff. So you obviously conscious, especially coming back from reality TV. You obviously sat down at some stage and said, "Look, this is where I'm going to focus, and this is why." So what was that reason?
Basically, you know, the thing with news is that I grew up basically with a lot of trauma. So did you know, our high schooling, apartheid. So lots of trauma when we were young, lots of anxiety, you know, when we confronted the police, lots of kind of feelings of nervousness, excitement, adrenaline, like when we were students and we were in the struggle. So it was kind of easy for me to go into news because I already had been in a lot of experiences of trauma and of anxiety and of, you know, like stress. So it was kind of natural, I think, because of how we grew up during the struggle, that I go into, I went to Iraq, I went to Afghanistan, I went to Liberia. I've been to a few, the Congo DRC war in 98. So I've been to a few places, and it was, like I said, it was kind of natural because that's just what we grew up with, you know. So in that way, it was easier.
So you
It was
mentioned
just easy.
you mentioned now Iraq, which is a perfect point for me to do this. So that was footage from a documentary called Fahrenheit 9/11.
Yeah, correct.
And so just give people a sense of what we just saw now and what footage was yours.
Okay, the footage that was mine was the screaming soldiers on the stretchers after they got their Humvee got hit, their vehicle got hit by a IED, improvised explosive device on the side of the road. So I spent 76 days in Tikrit, which is Saddam Hussein's hometown. I went there for the AP and one of the longest embeds, and the mission was looking for Saddam Hussein, basically. And they caught him 10 days after I left in Tikrit. But yeah, Iraq, it was, that was just one of the few moments there where we actually, something dramatic had happened. But the rest of the time, for all 76 days, like with all wars, you know, sometimes the skirmishes or the battles are very short lived or sometimes non existent. But you live with a constant fear that either today's the day, it's going to be incoming, your vehicle's going to get hit. So every day you have that kind of, is that fear, you know, not fear, or just that anxiety. And that's what a lot of what war is about, like just dealing with it, trying to stay sane, yeah, try not to lose your mind again. Yeah, just to focus.
Then how would you do that in that environment?
Well, in that environment where you just have to, you can't complain basically, you know, you have to become a soldier yourself. You know, 76 days, you know, you're not going home now. This is it, bite the bullet, you're here to do your job, very focused. If they catch Saddam, if we raid a house now and Saddam's in the cupboard, and they open the cupboard, I'm going to be behind the guy with my camera. So a lot of it was like when we go out on house raids at night, and I was very pushy, and American soldiers used to always tell me, get back, get back. But I knew that if he's hiding in that cupboard and they open that cupboard, I have to get that shot, you know. And but you have to basically or become a soldier yourself, you know, when you're embedded in that. You have to know that it's war. You have to be prepared to die. Kill or be killed is the name of the game, basically. So between me and you, I'm going home. That's what American soldiers used to say. So besides looking after yourself, you also have to have the mindset that if we get captured by insurgents, am I gonna cry, or am I gonna, like, you know, just let them kill me, or am I gonna have the mindset to try and fight back? You know. So I mean, I didn't have a gun, but I carried a bayonet in my flak jacket, and that kind of was like my last, you know, go for the jugular if somebody tries to capture me or something, you know. So a lot of that kind of mindset of survival and wanting to get home.
How much of what happened growing up in Athlone and growing up in apartheid, like you
No,
said,
that definitely helps you, because you know it's like excuse me, it's fear, you know, that you got to conquer, or the nervousness, you know. We grew up a lot with that, confronting the police. And that's why I say I went from Athlone hostile environment to Iraq hostile environment to Congo hostile environment. You know what I'm saying? So it was an easy progression for me, because I always had that feeling, or I knew that feeling of nervousness, anxiety. Shit, today we could get shot, we could get arrested. So it was just a walkover for me to go into these places without feeling like, you know, oh, I need training. And I mean, I've seen a lot of journalists arrive. Like the one woman arrived in Iraq, the next morning they had to evacuate her because she just had a total breakdown, you know. So even if you do the training, either it's for you or it's not for you. And a lot of people find out kind of on the job. and
when
it's
it's
very
not going
difficult.
well.
Yeah. And
So,
like I said, with this job, it's all about no excuses. You just got to deliver. You know, people don't want to hear your excuses. They just want to hear
you got the
where's the
footage.
pictures, got the footage, and that's it.
So now let me
So
play another video.
this is all the raw footage that you got here. That's all the raw footage. I see.
What I like about it,
Okay, you can cut it there. That's the raw footage. It's not the cut piece.
yeah, I know, but what I like
I think
about,
that must have been from the minor shot down stuff that Riyadh put out there.
yeah,
But that was that was Marikana basically. Yeah.
yeah, that was Marikana, the massacre in
Yeah.
the New South Africa, the worst massacre to date, where our new South African police force adopted did something what we are kind of more used to during apartheid than South Africa. And again, so just talk to us that experience. Just give us a sense of what was going on for you as you were covering that.
Okay. Basically, the whole Marikana story started. We heard there was a mine strike, right? And I remember Sunday. It was a Sunday night, and I watched the news as one does, just to be in the loop. And I had seen that two policemen had gotten murdered at the mines, basically. And then I just switched my mind on. I knew my phone's gonna ring. I knew the correspondent's gonna say we're going to Marikana tomorrow. So I was already like, oh shit, this thing is now a story, with those police. So the next day we went out there. We got there. I could see that it was a different situation, basically, because of my experience in KwaZulu Natal. I dealt a lot with what they call the Zulu impi there. So they use Intelezi, which some people here, which call Muti, basically, right? So there's a lot of things that I learned in KwaZulu Natal in the 90s about that. Like, you don't just approach the guys that's got it. You don't wear a cap. So I was very switched on to that whole situation because of that experience. So we held back, we stayed there. And then, I mean, nobody knew it was just going to happen like that. It just happened. I was there. I didn't want to be in that place. Dinky Mkize from Reuters got the best footage. I was basically pushed by the police to go another way. And yeah, that happened. I got the shot of the miner shooting at the police. I mean, which that thing just about missed me, because if you slow down the footage, you can actually see the camera goes into glitch because it's electronic. When the bullet passes the camera, it was so close. So yeah, I mean, it happened so fast. It was over. I got what I could get, but a tragedy indeed. But it was one of those situations where there was lots of local media there, and they didn't get good stuff. I mean, me and Dinky, and I think it was Farai from Eyewitness News, we probably got the best footage out of it. And in the end, that's what it comes to. I mean, it's about when that shooting's happening, trying to be as still as possible. You saw the raw footage, so a lot of the stuff is shaky there. But on the cut piece, it goes kind of in sequence like that. So it's about, you can talk as much as you want to when the cameras are off and all the journalists are hanging around and, and everybody's talking nonsense. But when the time comes, that's where you see if you can stand still when the bullets are flying, or whether you're going to try and run for cover.
And then,
So that, I could say, that was kind of like the peak of my career, or my insanity, basically, because it's not normal to
yeah,
want to stand still. It's not normal to want to stand still when bullets are flying. Although in this job, it's required, because that makes you the best.
which brings me to my next question. Sorry to cut you there, because
No worries.
this is the it's like, I remember how many times we all chilling together and you guys sharing the war stories. And as some like me, I didn't experience what you guys experience. So it's for me, it's like fascinating to hear these things. And I look at you, go thinking, flip, you're crazy to be there in the first place. And how, I don't think I've ever sat down and said, but how do you deal with this? And and the, f- you're currently going through the process of dealing with it. And
Correct.
so just give us a
Correct.
sense of what how did you deal with it then, going through those scenarios, or didn't deal with it, whichever term is more appropriate, and the impact that it has had on your life now,
Now.
and how
Okay.
you're dealing with that.
Okay. I mean, that's the one thing when you get into this business, it's a very, I wouldn't say macho, but you have to kind of be tough. You can't be weak. But nobody really tells you about, even the people you're working for. Nobody really talks about debriefing or going to speak to somebody or letting something go. Because the thing about the news is it doesn't stop, especially when it became 24-hour.
Mm,
Nobody's got time for your problems unless it's a big problem. You like, you got arrested, or you broke your leg, or you absolutely can't go work. So nobody tells you that. And I mean, when I was younger, and I did it and I did it and I did it, it was like, it was it was all good, because I thought, okay, this is what I need to do. But nobody warns you about that when you get older, or like in my case, where I was blessed to have two children now in my early 40s. And then when you get older, it kind of catches up with you,
mm,
because you become more mature. And you like, you feel I captured a lot of people's pain and misery and funerals and people dead and grieving families. And kind of, when you at that time, you don't feel anything for it, because just about, I got the shots look good, that's good, let's go. But when you get older and you start to lose family members or friends, or even like me, with a dog, when I lost, my dog died. And basically I wept. And it like opened up my emotions for me. Now I can deal with death, or death or suffering in my own family much easier, because I always relate to other people,
mm,
like that are covered. So it's not like, oh, your mother's sick, or your what you call it, like you special. It almost became for me like, now I feel what those people were feeling when I was at their house trying to get an interview while they were trying to mourn. You know what I mean? So a lot of it now, it's like, now that I'm older, I kind of understand that. I feel those people's pain, but it also makes my own situation much easier to deal with, my own pain with my family, or losing family members. And so it's become easier like that. But when you're doing it when you're young, you don't really care, because the most important thing in the news business is the delivery of the story.
but now
Sharp,
dealing
sharp,
the
sharp pictures, audio, interview,
interviews and
no excuses. Yeah.
but so you're saying you're dealing with it. So
I'm dealing with it now, yes.
but how are you going for assistance? Are you in therapy? Because that's also
But
another male, yeah,
yeah,
ego thing of, no, I'm not gonna need. I don't think I need that.
yeah. No, no, no. I'm definitely, I see a psychiatrist, therapy. I take antidepressants, because before, when you were younger, how you deal with it is that you self-medicate. What
Mm.
they call self-medicate. Various people self-medicate in different ways. I'm not going to go into that now, but now now I take antidepressants, and it makes me feel good. I haven't worked for a year. I've been diagnosed with chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, because when I got married maybe 6 years ago, there before that I was quite a single guy, just dedicated to the work. And when I got married, and then I realized that the way all my thinking wasn't normal. My wife kept telling me. And even like when I was living in Joburg before I moved here, I was always like, we call it op a post, you know, at home, my weapons at home, waiting to see the intruder in the garden, having the mindset, am I gonna let this dude come into my house, or am I gonna try and fight this dude, you know, fight or flight. So I always had that thing like, and it used to drive my wife crazy because she was like, "You crazy, you paranoid." Like one time we went to Bramfontein to some bar slash club there. Some DJ was playing, so we went there, and this place was packed. And I was like, I said to her, "Listen, if anything happens, just don't run. Stand against the wall. Keep your back against the wall. Don't get caught in the crowd." You know. So I was always thinking, "Hey, shit, how am I gonna get out of this? Am I gonna have to fight here? Am I gonna have to try and run?" Even in my own house in Joburg, electric fence, high walls. I always used to sit at night thinking, golf stick at next to the bed, golf stick by the door, because I like the long reach of it, you know. And I was like, listen, every day thinking, if today's the day, I'm not gonna let this dude take me. I'm gonna, you know. And it's no, it's no fun way to live compared to how I'm living here now. The worst thing that can happen to you is they steal your bicycle if you don't lock it properly.
And also,
That's the worst form of crime here, bro.
and I'm sure that having seen your kids is also had such a big part of the healing and wanting to heal. And can you share that, that just that magic
Yeah,
of
yeah.
if
Basically, Siraj, basically, it changed my life. You know, it changed my life because I mean, I was working when I had my kids. I was working for Al Jazeera. I was traveling Africa. I was doing well, and when I had my kids, it all just changed. You know, like it just changed immediately for me. I knew there's more to life. I knew that what I was doing was high risk. I started taking less chances, asking more questions about where we're going, what's happening. Um, and basically, yeah, they changed my life. That's why now I'm the stay-at-home dad, something which my wife's busy working now at the moment. So I do the stay-at-home thing, which is great for me. I mean, it's been a year I haven't worked, but now I have this new job, and yeah, that basically I could say saved my life, you could say, because I could actually be dead if I was still doing it, and it changed my life for the better.
what would
Exactly.
what would be that one major advice you like you got with all that this you must do? What would you tell those people?
What I would say is, what you must do is debrief. Therapy is very important. The most important thing, because you have to debrief, and not to your friends when you're sitting or you just finished golf and now you want to tell them a war story. No, that's not good. You need to get therapy, and basically, if it doesn't feel right, you need to stop doing it, because it doesn't get better. It only gets worse, and it definitely will catch up with you later in your life.
Shukran, my bro. I really
Upon
appreciate
my
that.
brother.
And I also so much appreciate knowing your stories, knowing how things have affected you, and the fact that you are prepared to talk about it, because this is what people like yourselves with that experience. The value is you are willing to share the 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 darker side of things. The real effect of what happens to your lives and the lives of the loved ones within your space. And I'm so happy and appreciate that you're willing to share that with me and obviously everybody that watched this thing. So shukran so much. I really appreciate you.
No worries, my brother. I'll share it anytime anybody needs any information. I'm basically on LinkedIn. I'm not on Facebook, but people can message me on
Yeah.
LinkedIn if they want to, Shadley Lombard. But yeah, I mean, I would give any advice. I mean, it's just take care of yourself, and don't be scared, or don't be shy to go for therapy. Therapy is the most important thing, I would say, for one's survival. You know, definitely. I would say that's a lifesaver. In
No,
fact, the whole of South Africa needs
needs
therapy
therapy. No,
after apartheid. The whole of Alexander Sinton, even you, Siraj, all that shit that you're watching in the edit suite, that's all embedded there. And you should also give it a go, just to, once or twice. You walk out there, you see how lighter you feel. It's like you release 2 backpacks off your back. You're ready to go again. And I'm telling you, we think it's okay because now we're playing 9 holes and we're talking about it to our friends. No, you need to talk to an independent person, and it will really help. So that's the main thing I say. If that's what you want to do, hard news, and you want to go for that, go for it. But make sure you take care of you, because that shit always catches up
Comes
with you.
back, right? Cool. Thank you. Shukran. Salam, my bro.
You're most welcome. Salama, brother.